As a candidate in 2016 and 2024, Donald Trump promised to crack down on undocumented immigrants. And after the first year of his second term in office, the president has moved fast. Today's guest says that the policies and their implementation come with a very high price for the immigrants and even for U.S. officials. She's Caitlin Dickerson this week on Story in the Public Square. Hello and welcome to A Story in the Public Square, where storytelling meets public affairs. I'm Jim Ludes from the Pell Center at Salve Regina University. And my guest this week is Caitlin Dickerson, an award-winning investigative reporter and feature writer for The Atlantic magazine. She won the 2023 Pulitzer Prize for explanatory reporting, among several awards of recognition for her remarkable reporting career. Caitlin, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure.
You know, you have been on the biggest story of both Trump administrations, one of the biggest stories of both Trump administrations, the president's focus on immigration and efforts to deport Americans that he says are here, or deport individuals who he says are here illegally. Let's just start, has immigration always been as contentious an issue as it seems like it's been for the last decade?
So it ebbs and flows throughout American history. Certainly the intense backlash that we're experiencing against immigrants right now is nothing new. Now, I can point to episodes going back to the 19th century. But I think in the last decade, we have seen a really significant increase in tension and politicization of this issue, probably the most that we've seen since the 1960s, I'll say. That's for a few different reasons. Obviously, we have had lots of immigration to the United States since 2014 or so. That's really when the tide began to turn, when we saw more people crossing the southwest border due to kind of a bad mixture of conditions in Central America initially. Related to the economy there, related to public safety, the government's willingness to and ability to keep people safe. And then, of course, the numbers have expanded as we've seen other countries experience significant chaos, from Afghanistan to Ukraine, based on what Russia's war there, and then, of course, Venezuela. But I think the other reason why we're experiencing so much political consternation now over this issue is because Donald Trump has really taken it up and has seen a lot of support, has gained a lot of traction by focusing his campaigns on immigration. And so there's kind of a feedback loop where he feels it's a successful issue for him, and then he sticks with it.
Well, and so in his first administration, this was, again, an issue that he campaigned on in 2016. In that first administration, you've taken a deep look. You won a Pulitzer Prize in 2023 for your look at essentially what became a family separation policy in that first Trump administration. Do you want to walk us through a little bit about what they did in that first term, sort of as a precursor to what we've seen happen in the last 12 months?
Absolutely. So when Trump was running for president the first time, he had Stephen Miller, who's now a deputy White House chief of staff, writing his speeches. And Stephen Miller was passionate about his anti-immigrant stance, going all the way back to the time when he was a high schooler, then when he went on to work for Senator Jeff Sessions in Congress, and then he'd taken this job for Donald Trump. And basically what the Trump campaign noticed is that when he talked about immigration on the campaign trail, he got a really strong response. People cheered, they were angry, but they agreed with his position, and they determined that, if Trump could talk about immigration and kind of put people's frustrations, whether they were about the economy, educational opportunities, just their general conditions in the United States, if they could focus that anger toward immigrants and sort of blame immigrants for those issues, it turned out to be really popular. And so Trump ended up winning the presidency. And as a result of that, what I found in my reporting was that Miller's status within his first administration was really elevated because they didn't expect him to win the presidency. And when he did, people really gave Miller the credit and thought that it was his focus on immigration that had gotten Trump into the White House the first time. And so it became an obsession. And, I went back to discover where this family separation policy came from, one in which thousands, between 4,000 and 5,000 children were taken from their parents at the southwest border. They were shipped to detention facilities across the country, with one not knowing where the other was. Hundreds of parents were deported without their children under this policy because it was so chaotic. And in trying to figure out how it was that the government came to put this policy into place, I learned just how much the White House and the cabinet agencies were consumed with this issue of immigration, because Trump and the people closest to him felt that it was so vital to his maintaining support and maintaining power.